I was 16 in my junior year of high school. I had 9 periods in a school day. 5th period was lunch, and straight from there was my astronomy class. My astronomy class was actually held in one of the 2 basement classrooms of the school. My high school was big, there were 3 floors, and even that wasn't enough to accommodate all the classes offered, so the school built 2 classrooms in the basement. It was honestly kind of creepy down there when nobody else.
Are these true stories or made up? Oh, 3 true lockdown horror stories. Okay. So these are not Are You Afraid of the Dark stories. These are true stories.
Was around. It used to be a janitorial area. However, it was remodeled to better resemble a typical hallway. The only thing, there were no intercoms or loudspeakers down in the basement at that time. For that reason, no classes were held down there first period for the morning announcements. Everyone referred to this little section of the basement as the chamber, and everyone always tried to get classes down there just because it was air conditioned and the classes were typically easier. Plus, it had its own bathroom down there. We had a quiz in astronomy that day. Usually I was one of the first done.
Astronomy, I took astronomy in college. I honestly was like a Matt Damon at Good Will Hunting in astronomy. I wouldn't even bring a calculator. I would just do the algorithms. I was just lighting it up. If I could go back, I may have like majored in astronomy or something, or done some kind of weird astrophysics type deal. I might be like looking through telescopes for a full-time job, but I loved astronomy class. Loved it. $200 later, Bentley has an ear infection. Well, at least you brought him to the vet to figure out what's wrong with it. So hopefully they can fix it. That's a really expensive ear infection, but
just because I found the class easy. After I finished my quiz, I texted my friend who was in the other basement classroom to meet me in the bathroom because I was bored. He told me okay.
What? Look, hey, listen. If you're if you're ever in a basement with no windows, no doors, no nothing, and somebody texts you and says, "Hey, meet me in the bathroom, I'm bored," do not go.
I walked out of the classroom and down the small hallway to the bathroom. A few seconds later, the door opened and my friend JJ entered the bathroom. We were joking around for a while until JJ checked his phone and said someone texted him saying the school was going on lockdown. We both looked at each other with the same grins. Neither of our teachers saw us leave the classrooms. That meant we had free range of the school while it was on lockdown. We agreed to sneak upstairs and look around the hallways just for the hell of it.
What an insane idea. Hey, the school's on lockdown. Ooh, we can walk around everywhere. No, man, it's on lockdown for a reason. What the hell's wrong with you?
The worst that would happen is that we'd explain how we couldn't hear the announcements in the basement classrooms.
No.
Upon opening the basement door to the main floor, we were surprised to find all the lights had been turned off, so the hallways were pretty much pitch black aside from the light pouring in from the doors in the lobby. This was legit because usually the lights were left on in the hallways during lockdowns. Something was going down, and we didn't know if we were even comfortable walking around now. JJ stepped out a little further into the hallway, and I followed suit. JJ then looked down the hall and said, "Who's that?" I looked, and emerging from the darkness was a man. At first we couldn't tell if he was a teacher or not, but as he got closer, we realized this guy wasn't dressed at all like any staff member. He was dressed like a bum. "Alright, let's go," I told JJ as we hurried back down to the basement.
He was dressed like a bum. Just shitting on bums for no reason there.
He surely saw us, whoever he was. We saw both classrooms had their doors shut and lights off, so to avoid making a scene, we decided to hide in the bathroom.
God!
I shut the light first thing, and then we both went to hide in the corner stall. There was complete silence in the room, no ventilation, no heaters, nothing. Just the sound of me and JJ breathing, and an occasional drip from the sink. The door to the bathroom suddenly opened, and light from the hallway poured into the bathroom for a brief moment. The door shut, and the bathroom was once again pitch black. Me and JJ tried our best to control our breathing. The room was so silent that we could hear somebody walking over to our side of the bathroom.
Bro, look. If you and a friend, first of all, there's a lot wrong here. If you and the friend are in the hallway during lockdown and you see a strange man, start freaking out, scream, hit the doors, open the doors, go into another classroom, Start doing stuff, whatever. You're in a lockdown. Obviously, something's wrong. Now, if you end up in the bathroom and you and your friend JJ are in the same stall in the pitch black, and the bum walks in the bathroom, guess what? You and JJ are now tag team partners in the World Heavyweight Championship tag team match, and it's you two against this bum. That's it. If you and your friend are in this stall and the bum open, have y'all ever seen the kitchen scene from Jurassic Park? Okay, it's like that, but they're not velociraptors. It's just this bum. So you and JJ got to open that door and hand him the yappa. You got to go in on this bum. No questions asked. You have to attack. Fight or flight, and you ain't flying. You're in a stall.
Bathroom. The person stopped and started breathing really heavily, as if they were out of breath.
Good.
Me and JJ were both scared to death.
No, take him down.
JJ did something very dumb. He whispered in my ear, "We have to crawl out through the other stalls." The room was so silent, however, that even JJ's whisper could be heard from across the room. The heavy breathing outside the stall stopped, and the person tried pressing the stall door in. That was when I whispered, "Go, go," to JJ. We both crawled under the sidewall to the next stall over, and then the next stall, and then finally out to the other side of the bathroom.
Look, I'm not saying this isn't true, but if it's so quiet in there that he could hear you whispering, you don't think this guy heard these two dudes crawling on the ground across the bathroom? I feel like that would be pretty loud. So I don't think he's just sitting there banging on the stall door while these two guys are crawling underneath the stalls and he doesn't hear them.
The person was now...
And that's got to be the worst response. Is what's our move here? Instead of opening the door, go 2-on-1 handicap match, let's lay down on the ground like sea slugs and crawl across the bathroom?
Full-on banging on the stall door. Me and JJ hopped up off the floor, opened the door, and as the light filled the room again, we saw the guy from upstairs in the corner. We pounded on the door to JJ's class. The teacher let us in within seconds. JJ explained everything as the teacher locked the door, mentioning a gun sticking out of the man's pocket. I was shocked to hear this because I didn't see a gun, but I went along with it anyway. Usually a bunch of high school students would be laughing their asses off at two students causing a scene like this, but I noticed all the kids sitting in the corner looked concerned. A sudden bang at the door made everyone jump, and a couple of girls squeal out of fear.
Yeah, time to go 25
JJ,
on
the
1.
teacher, and I could see the man standing at the door, looking through the window while trying the doorknob. After a few bangs on the door out of what seemed to be anger, he turned and walked down the hallway back to the stairs. We don't know how much longer the lockdown went on for, but for over an hour we sat in silence in the room, other than the teacher occasionally asking me and JJ questions in a very concerned tone, shaking his head after everything we would tell him. Eventually, somebody from upstairs called the teacher and he instructed all of us to single file walk up the stairs and out of the building, where we would be greeted by cops. Me and JJ did the best we could at describing the man to the cops and to the dean. One of the cops patted me on the back and we were sent off to go home. After this incident, the school installed cameras everywhere and ramped up the security budget. This incident never got media attention, so honestly, we never found out if police caught the guy. I'm convinced that man had no other intentions but to kill us then and there in that bathroom stall.
Yeah, and if that's the case, I mean, this guy had so many problems with his situation. They should have never left the room during the lockdown. It's a lockdown for a reason. Is there no school security? And once you get him in the bathroom, in the pitch black bathroom, it's 2-on-1, brother. That's your only way out. Your way out is not laying on the ground and crawling across the floor. If that's your way out, you're already accepting death. That was story 1. Oh, no.
Don't like cartoon characters. Neither did.
We heard 1. Okay, story 2. Story 2, let's go. We're locked into story 2.
I'm a retired New Jersey police officer. Throughout my 20 years in the force, the most disturbing call I ever received was for a school lockdown happening at a nearby middle school, of which I'll leave out the name for legal reasons. It happened on a stormy, dark day. My car number was called on the radio to respond to a lockdown, where a suspicious-looking man was seen stepping out from a white van parked behind a school and walking into the back door by the boys' locker room. I pulled up to the back parking lot of the school, right next to the white van. Nobody was inside, and all the doors and trunk were locked. I opened the red back door that entered into the gym hallway, right by the locker rooms. The main lights had been turned off, so the whole inside of the school was dark. I unholstered the flashlight from my belt and used it to navigate the halls. I made it to the lobby of the school, where a woman emerged from the front office quietly, telling me to check the boys' locker room, but to be careful because the person might be armed. I called for backup on my radio and was assured backup was already on the way. I made it back to the hallway I entered from, where I found the boys' locker room right next to the exit. I pushed it open very quietly. There were no windows in the rooms, therefore there was no light whatsoever in that locker room. Only the light provided by the flashlight.
So it was just pitch black. Now look, again, I know he's a cop, but I just can't imagine this was the move. If you have backup coming, just wait. Just wait outside the locker room. Why go in? Are there kids in there? If not, why go in there? Just wait outside of the locker room for your backup.
There was a white noise in the room, some kind of vent on the ceiling blowing air. But even over that, I was hearing faint scratching type noises, or little dings on the locker doors from the other side. I was supposed to make my presence as a police officer known, but honestly, I was just too scared. The tension in the room was insane. I held my flashlight in one hand and my gun in the other as I snuck to the other side of the locker room. It seemed like wherever I was in the room, the dings and thuds would be coming from the other side. I was standing in the corner of the locker room, right by the door to the bathroom, when the sound of someone slamming a locker door from another room made me jump out of my skin. I went in the direction where I heard the slam, to find out that it was from the boys' football team locker room. There was no door separating the main locker room from the football locker room. The lockers in here were also 3 times the size. I finally had the nerve to make my presence known by shouting police. After shouting, a kid started screaming help from somewhere in the room. It was very muffled though. The kid pounded on a locker door on the other side of the row I was in. When I found out that the boy was trapped inside of a locker, I felt sick in my stomach. I told him I'd be right back.
What the hell? This poor kid was just trapped in a locker? Where is the other person? What's happening?
Again calling for backup while running outside to where the white van was. It was gone. My biggest mistake was not getting the plate number first thing. I told dispatch to be on lookout for a suspicious white van.
Worst cop in history. Let the guy escape, didn't get the car number.
I ran back into the school and instructed the staff in the front office to end the school day and to send somebody with a key to the locker room to get the boy out of the locker. The boy was held by the man with a knife on his back, as I speculate the man was quietly trying to get the 12-year-old boy to his van. The boy was bleeding on his arm from the man cutting him while resisting. The man's van was spotted a week later in a 7-Eleven parking lot, where he was arrested after being properly identified.
Alright, so that was story 2. Worst cop ever. Cop did absolutely nothing. Cop completely screwed the pooch. Now, I'll also say, real ballsy move here by this guy. To be like, all right, I'm going to go abduct a kid. Where am I going to go? The middle school. It's like, dude, it's not a grocery store. You can't just go pick one out of the locker room. I mean, like, you talk about the most high-profile abduction ever. Like, actually going to the school, grabbing the kid, throwing him in your van, and hauling ass. Yeah. Story 3. Story 3. What's the name of Hampton Inn?
I was staying in a Hampton Inn in New Jersey
live
when
now.
I was visiting Rowan University, a college I potentially wanted to attend. My family couldn't come with me, so I was on my own. After attending campus tours, I went to get a bite to eat at a nearby restaurant, and then went back to the hotel at around 8 p.m., planning on going back to campus again the next day. About an hour after returning to my room, a strange alarm started going off in my room, along with a white light flashing from the corner of the ceiling. A message started looping shortly after as well, saying something along the lines of, "All Hampton Inn guests, please remain in your rooms, this is a lockdown."
Okay,
I'd never
no
heard of
problem.
a lockdown in a hotel. I never even knew hotels had alarms like this. I found it more interesting and exciting than anything else. Eventually the sound of the alarm stopped, but the light kept flashing, and every 20 seconds or so the message would repeat. It was only like 9:30, so I turned on the TV just as background noise while I started changing clothes and brushing my teeth.
Yeah, all right.
I
Sounds
shut
cool.
the lights when I was done and hopped under the covers. I watched TV for half an hour before shutting it off. The light was still flashing with an obnoxious bright white every few seconds. It was definitely going to hinder my sleep.
I'm definitely not going to sleep in this situation. If I'm in this situation, I'm staying up, I'm watching TV, I'm prepared, I'm ready. I'm not laying down and going to sleep.
I was starting to consider calling the front desk to ask what was going on.
Could have
when the
definitely
phone
does
rang.
that. Could have definitely done that.
It was someone from the front desk. I was expecting them to tell me something about the alarm and when it would shut off, but instead the person on the other end spoke in a very concerned voice. She told me to remain calm and walk out the door. I took
No.
that opportunity to ask her what exactly was going on. She went on to tell me that there was somebody in the room with me and to get out immediately.
What? Wait, what? Let me start this. Let me go back. I might have missed something.
Concerned voice. She told me to remain calm and walk out the door. I took that opportunity to ask her what exactly was going on. She went on to tell me that there was somebody in the room with me and to get out immediately. I dropped the phone and instinctively started looking around everywhere. Part of me was curious to see if somebody was in fact in the room.
Are you blind? What do you mean? What do you mean I'm curious? How can you possibly be oh shit. How can you possibly be curious of if there's someone in the room? You're in the room. Look around.
Consider calling the front desk to ask what was going on when the phone rang.
Oh, the phone rang. Okay. So he didn't call down there. They called him.
It was someone from the front desk. I was expecting them to tell me something about
And talk about a crazy strategy. Hey, I think there's someone. How could they even know there's someone in the room? How could he have got in the room?
the alarm and when it would shut off. But instead, the person on the other end spoke in a very concerned voice. She told me to remain calm and walk out the door. I took that opportunity to ask her what exactly was going on. She went on to tell me that there was somebody in the room with me and to get out immediately. I dropped the phone and instinctively started looking around everywhere. Part of me was curious to see if somebody was in fact in the room. I checked under the bed, looked into the empty bathroom, nobody in either spots. Then, I noticed the closet door right next to the bathroom. It was one of those closets with a wooden sliding door. It was open just a tiny crack, and through that tiny crack, I could see a person's face.
Absolutely not. I just got chills. Absolutely fucking not. You talk about a terrifying story. There's just someone been chilling in your room the whole time when you're watching TV, and you can see a little face in the closet? What?
At first, it didn't sink in what I was seeing, but when the door slid shut, that was when I freaked out and ran out the door. The people at the front desk showed me security footage from an hour earlier of some sketchy-looking man walking around the hallways, apparently looking for a certain room. When he got to my door, he opened it with the card he somehow acquired, and that was it. I stayed around as the authorities took the person out in chains. It was a man, of course, on the shorter side, easily 40s. He looked at me as he passed, as if he knew who I was immediately. It's scary thinking back that he may have been watching me for more than an hour from that closet.
Bro, what? What? Dude, First of all, if you're in a hotel, you have to lock the door with the latch. If you don't latch the door, you're insane. Because at the bare minimum, the workers to the hotel have keys to your room. So there are other keys to your room. You got to lock the flap. The fact that so as I'm understanding this guy. So I'm kind of confused here. Did this stranger go into the room before the guy got to the room, or was this guy already in the room and then the stranger snuck in while he was already in the room? Because if that's the case, it's like, dude, get some situational awareness. If you're in a hotel room and you don't realize someone's entering your room, I mean, my God. But I think before. Okay, so if this guy snuck in there before, I totally get that. Man, imagine, dude, laying in bed for an hour and this guy could have just been watching him, just staring at him. Imagine the fear. Imagine the fear where you're told, hey, someone's in the room with you. And it's like, wait, what? And then you see a face in the closet. Dude, I would absolutely lose my mind. If you see that face in the closet, that is the ultimate, like, hair stick up, time to go, time to fight, time to die. You know? Imagine, like, how scary it would be to rush past that closet, unlatch the door, open the door, and run down the hallway, knowing the guy's in there. Oh, man. But yeah, dude, these stories give me chills. I'm addicted to listening to all of them. He's a great storyteller. That one was really scary. I enjoyed that video, but I was definitely scared for most of it. I mean, I wasn't scared during any of it. I wasn't scared at all. Okay? Not one time.